Hi everyone, it's Fish767 and welcome to my video. In this video I'm going to show you how to best prepare for Path of Exile's Act 1. We'll cover topics like choosing a class, finding an ideal build and loadout, and preparing your item filter. By the end of this video you'll be ready to have a blast in Path of Exile's Act 1. Let's start by choosing a class. There's a lot of classes to choose from, but my personal favorite is the Witch, and this class is great because it offers powerful builds with great clear speed and single target DPS. And it's hard to find both of those in a build where it works very well together. So I can click right here. This is the PoE Builds website, which I will leave a link to, first link in the description. And I can click Witch to filter by my Witch builds, and I can see all the different ones that they have. And of course, I can also search for a specific term. Now, I know that I'm going to be playing solo self-found, which means that I'm not going to be able to trade for items, and that means that a lot of the builds that I could normally play, I'm not going to be able to play because I can't guarantee that I get a specific item that the build needs. So I'm going to search for SSF, and I'm able to see all the builds that are SSF viable. And so I'm able to select from this list, and unfortunately none of them are Witch, so I'm not going to be able to play Witch this time around. But it's really important when you're picking a build that you find a build that fits your ideal build and loadout playstyle. If you do not find a build that fits it perfectly, you're going to regret it later on in the game because you're going to be spending a very long time on this build. It'll probably take you a couple days to get through the acts, and then once you get to maps, you'll be spending a few more days getting up to the higher tier maps, or it might even take weeks, depending on how long you play each day. And so you really want to make sure that during this time you're playing a build that you enjoy playing. After you get some currency built up, you might be able to create a new build that is even better than the one that you're currently playing, but you want to make sure that the build that you start with is one that you'll enjoy. So take your time choosing a class, choosing the type of build that you want to play, read the descriptions, and make sure that the build sounds like something that you want to play. It's very important. And I really recommend that if you don't know what to do, you check out online guides and forums, maybe even look for a Discord server. I'll leave a link to a really good Discord server in the description. And you're going to want to check those out and just ask around, see if you can find a build that fits you. Now, I already know that I want to play this build. I've already went through, I've read it, and so I know that this is the build that I want to play. And so this is the build that I'm going to play, and if you feel like playing along with me, go right ahead. I'll leave a link to this in the description. This will be the third link in the description. So now that you've picked your build, which I'm assuming that you have picked your build, you're going to need to find the build's path of building. And it'll be somewhere in your build. And so I don't know where my path of building is yet, so I'm going to look for it. And I've just found my path of building. So once you have your path of building, which you'll probably want to copy, but you want to make sure that you have path of building installed to begin with. So you can either search up POE, or I will leave a link in the description as our fourth link. And you want to find your community fork, and you're basically going to go to the releases section right here, click that, and then you'll want to download the setup exe. And I believe if you open that, it will install it completely. Now, I'm not an expert on installing path of building. I haven't done it in quite some time. So you might want to look up a separate video made by somebody else that knows more about path of building to ensure that you install it correctly. But once you have path of building installed, it will look something like this. Let me pull it up real quick because I forgot to do that. This is what path of building looks like. When you get in here, you want to check for all your updates, make sure that it's up to date, and then you'll click new, and then you'll go over here to import, and then you will paste the URL that you copied from your build right here, and then you'll click import, and this will load everything in. And it'll immediately take you to the tree page, and you will be able to see the passive tree of the build. This is what you're going to aim for and eventually hopefully get. And if your passive tree is from an older version of Path of Exile, there will be a button right here which says convert. And you can click this button and it will convert the passive tree to the newest version. Some of the passive skills won't be allocated if they did get changed. And so it'll make some minor changes there. And if you want to see the previous tree before you converted it, you can just click down here and you'll be able to see that tree. You'll also be able to see the configuration that the person that made the build has path of building set up to. This is very important. I wouldn't change any of this because it's set up in a very specific way to calculate exactly the amount of damage that your build's going to do based on all the buffs that you're going to have. So I wouldn't touch this. And then you see all your skills here by going to the skills section, and you can see all your different links, and you can see what they're socketed in, like which item. and you can see all of that fun stuff. And then you can go to your items, you can see all the items in the build. You're also able to create new items, and I'm not going to go into all those specifics, but there are also different item sets that you can see. For example, I can switch to a Anime Guardian set and see all the different items in the Anime Guardian. And then you have your calculations, and this just goes in depth into how the numbers are calculated. And if your build creator left you any notes, you'll be able to find them in the notes section. And so that's pretty much all the important stuff. You're able to see your damage in this area. This build has 15.5 million damage, which is very good. I don't know that I'm actually going to be able to get that high, but this is like a projected realistic maximum. And you can see your life, your effective hit pool, your resistances, and all of that important stuff. And that's really how you use Path of Building. The most important things are to follow your tree, and your build might have a leveling tree. For example, the build that I selected, let me bring it back up. Here we are. It has a leveling guide right here, and it has a leveling tree, and so I'm able to see my leveling tree here. And so I will be following this in the early part of the game, and at some point I will switch from following that tree to following my Path of Building tree. And when that happens, I'll just reset the skills that I need to be able to have this tree. And so that's basically the important part there. Just make sure and double check if your build has a leveling tree or not. Most do. Not all of them do, but most of your builds will have a different leveling tree than the tree that you're going to end up using at the end of the game. And then the next most important thing that you need to do is to customize a filter. So this is Filter Blade. I'll leave a link to this in the description as well, 5th link in the description. When you open it up, this is what you'll see. And so you want to first sign in with PoE, so I'm going to do that really quickly, and obviously I can't show you this. Alright, but once you're logged in, now this will be what it looks like. And so what you're going to do is you're going to create a new filter. I recommend never sync softcore. You can use the hardcore if you plan on playing hardcore, but for your first time through the game, I would really stick to softcore. And then you want to set it to a strictness. I recommend semi-strict just for starting out. And so then you can customize it however you want. I'm not going to go into all the specifics. I don't really need to customize it for anything. You can of course simulate loop drops. You can customize the styles, and then you can also customize some more advanced settings. But we really just want a basic filter. So like I said, just go semi-strict. And you're going to go over here to the save and export, and we want to name the filter. So I'm going to call mine Tutorial Semi-Strict. You can call yours whatever you want. And then what I will do is I will sync or download, and you can either save it and download it, and then you can put it into a file on your PC if that's what you prefer to do, or you can save and sync, which is what I recommend doing. So I'm going to click this. It's going to upload the filter to Path of Exile, and then when I open up the game, I'm able to select this filter, which I will show you how to do in the next video in the series. And all that you want to make sure is that it does say saving complete over here, and once you've done that, you should be good to go. And so that's all that I have for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you will join us as we tackle Act 1 in the next video as a full walkthrough. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, and goodbye.